Hey everybody, Cooper here at etrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination E on our 2021 Dodge Durango. We are going to have a platform-style bike rack, able to hold up to 2 bikes, individually rate rated for that impressive 70 pounds each. So our heavier e-bikes, like the one we have on here today, are going to be an option for it. We are making that frame contact, so while alternative frame bikes might be able to squeeze in, unfortunately our carbon frame bikes are not going to be an option. First thing we're going to show you is its tilt-away feature. And it is easy to engage from the back end more, so we're going to show it from this side. By undoing our handle down here, by simply spinning around a little bit and pushing it away from our vehicle, we engage that tilting function, which allows us to go ahead and take the frame and kind of push our bike away from our vehicle. As we can see, it has a very impressive tilt function, further than most bike racks comparable, which does give us full access into our hatch here, whether we're storing our bike helmet, storing our shoes, storing lunch back here, we have the option to come grab it all. In order to get it back into that position, we are going to go ahead and just grab our mast again and simply push or pull back into that seated position, and then pushing our knob back towards our vehicle and re-engaging by spinning it down nice and tight. There is an additional ramp available for this rack if you're wanting to carry around some of those e-bikes and just have assistance loading on and off. And unfortunately will not fit on all 4 of our cradles. It will only fit into the back cradle though. You can identify your back cradle by seeing that there is this nice little notch cut out, which is where our ramp would fit into. That's going to be our back cradle, while our front cradle does have this extra strap here for the front wheel. So while it might look like a symmetrical bike rack, there is stuff you have to be aware of when positioning, especially if you want to use this ramp, making sure there's enough clearance on the other side of your vehicle to be able to unload it backwards. We're not going to be able to use it here today, but it is just something worth mentioning. If you don't have the ability to use the ramp, or you don't have the ramp, this is what your unloading process is going to look like. We're going to come to either our front or back tire real quick. We're simply going to disengage these straps that we have here just by simply pulling them out, feeding them through our tire and setting them to the side. Coming up to our front, to keep in mind again that we have 2 up here on our front, and that this is a great time to point out that our straps do come with this nice additional rubber padding here to just help protect our tire a little bit more. Undoing our third and final one, we can move up here to look at our main point of contact on our center mass. Looking at our lock knob too, we can see that there is a metal core lock, so that way that just helps another additional security feature on the rack, give you a little bit of peace of mind. I do like that there is this additional gust cover here too. So by simply undoing our knob, holding onto our bike, because eventually all that weight is going to transfer from the rack to us. We want to make sure that we don't damage our car or our bike accidentally somehow. Just sliding our knob out of place, and then simply by lifting it, getting it on the ground, we're all good to ride. Just putting our straps away, getting them folded back in to our ratcheting positions. We can see that our cradles do have this really nice wide base. We are able to accommodate up to a 4.5-inch tire width. Now with our straps folded back down and our bike off, we can lower our center mass. So for that, we're going to come to our rubber strap right here and simply go ahead and undo that. Doing the same on the side. Releasing our clamps here, then allows us to go ahead and take our center mass, folding it down to get these levers into place. We simply go ahead and lock them back into place, making sure that the long end is pointing away from our vehicle, which allows us to take our rubber straps and re-secure them into their closed positioning. With our rack in this position, now we're going to take some measurements. Putting our tape measure on the back of our bumper and coming out, we can see that while driving with it in this configuration, we are adding on about 40 inches to the vehicle. If you were to drive with that center mass up, which you can totally do, you'd be adding on only about 31 inches. So while it doesn't save you a ton of room, it does save a little bit. And then you just really need to know this measurement for if you are trying to fit into a tight space. Can you fit in your garage in this configuration? Or if you're changing lanes on the highway, just being aware how much additional space you have on the back of your vehicle. Now we're going to take a look at the ground clearance. And by coming over to our rack in the lowest point, taking it, putting it on the ground, we are going to be able to see that we are sitting about 16 inches from the ground. And that's just important to know in case you find yourself driving up any inclines. Now we are going to take our rack into the more compact position and show you some of those measurements. In order to do that, we are simply going to disengage our safety pin here and pull our pin out. If you find yourself finding a little resistant, you can go ahead and just lift up on the rack a little bit and it should come out much easier. With the pin out, we can go ahead and just take our rack, push it up into our compact position, and replace our pin back into its new hole. Now, in this configuration, we're going to be able to see that we are only adding on about 15 inches to the back of our vehicle. So we're saving a lot of space by being in this compact position. And this is just good to know in case, again, trying to fit into a tight spot, can you fit into your garage in this configuration? And then it also helps for any other ongoings around your area. If you're sticking out over the sidewalk in your parking spot, you might be able to lift this up and not block that sidewalk so much. Our bike rack is going to use this nice 2-inch shank that fits inside our 2-inch receiver. This nice collar up top is going to help ensure that when we are installing our rack, we don't go too deep with it. We have this pin, which is being kept in place by this nice lock right here, with these being key-alike to our bikes that we saw earlier, those clamps. So not only does your bike have an additional security feature, so does the rack itself. Coming out, we can see that we have this anti-rattle lever that when you're tightening down, you want to make sure that you leave in a up or horizontal position. Having it down in that vertical position just lowers your ground clearance and has a higher chance of it getting knocked loose.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the solemn. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners and evasive maneuvers. Then we get to the alternating speed bumps. We'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving on uneven pavement. Then we'll go over the full speed bumps, and we can see the up and down action. This will be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or a driveway.
Overall, I do think the Hollywood Rack's Destination E is a pretty solid bike rack. I do like the fact that it can accommodate up to those 4.5-inch tire sizes. The fact that it can hold 70 pounds per bike means that those e-bikes is really what this was made for. Though it does have a ramp, while not coming with the kit or storing on it, it does have a ramp available. The fact that it can only fit on 2 of the 4 cradles, kind of a downside in my opinion. If you're looking for a bike rack that has a ramp coming with the kit, stores on the bike rack, and can fit onto all 4 cradles, I do think the Yakima on-ramp would be a really good option for you. But if you like the features of this one more, I do think, again, that the Hollywood Rack's Destination E is a really solid bike rack overall. And today we saw it on our 2021 Dodge Durango. Thanks for watching.